Joining us to discuss the Edo State election outcome is a lawyer and as well as public affairs analyst, and that's Taiwo Ojumu. Good afternoon. Glad to have you join me on the news.
Good afternoon. It's my pleasure.
Okay, I kick off by asking, what do you make of the outcome of the just concluded governorship election in Edo State?
I think it is typical of most elections in Nigeria. I mean, it is not the worst of elections in Nigeria. We've seen worse elections, and of course, it's definitely not the best of elections. Um, I think, particularly the umpire could have done a lot more. I mean, the INEC could have done a lot more. We see had instances of glitches, the same glitches we've complained of in time past. But then again, I think I must single out the electorate in those states. For special commendation. I'm particularly impressed because, like I said in my last interview, I said those states is a bit prone to violence because a lot of people there are a bit hot-headed, with all respect to them there. So, but I'm particularly impressed with the way the electorate were composed and orderly in the election generally. But like I said, the outcome, as for the outcome, I think it's typical. It's not the best of elections. It's not the worst of elections in Nigeria. It could be better.
Well, we've seen different accusations as well as counter-accusations. For instance, the Edo State chapter of the PDP has rejected the result, alleging that entries made by INEC officials are different from what the actual results uploaded on the INEC Rev are, thereby, inflating votes in favor of the APC. What are your thoughts on this?
Yes, again, these are not unusual in Nigeria. It's very, very typical. After a major election like this, the major parties involved in election would come. I mean, the party who has been announced to have lost in election by INEC would definitely come up with allegations and counter allegations. But then at the end of the day, it is left for the election tribunal to look into some of these allegations and then come up with his findings and of course his judgment on whether those allegations are true or not. But then again, I must say that, like I said earlier, the election is not the best of elections. There were apparent instances of rigging, and inconsistencies. For instance, throughout yesterday, I was on Twitter and I saw. I mean, if those documents I saw on Twitter are anything to go by, then of course you can predict, you can say emphatically that there were all manner of irregularities and discrepancies in the results.
Now, I'm talking about
But
irregularities. Okay. Yeah. Okay, just
yes,
to bring it to the
but then, okay, continue, please.
Just to bring it to the fray, different dynamics, we understand that a Labour Party also is accusing both the parties, and that's the APC and the PDP, of election malpractice. We understand, the PDP is accusing, APC of misconduct in the process of this election, as well as the APC also accusing the PDP. Now, the Labour Party is saying it's just a case of a big dog outwitting or outdoing the other party, as the PDP themselves are no saint, no saint either. What do you make of that?
Yes, again, I think I agree also with those who are of the opinion that the APC and the PDP are more or less siblings. These are, I mean, if you look at the history of both parties, you will see that the majority of people who membered the APC or who populated the APC were former members of the PDP and vice versa. So I'm not particularly surprised. Now, speaking of the performance of the Labour Party candidate, I personally would have expected. I mean, I thought that he would have had a better outcome. I mean, I felt he would have had a better outing, but I think the outing looks worse than I would have expected, because I actually thought that because if you go strictly by some of the things we saw online, the fact that there were a lot of young minds, young electorates rooting for him, but then so the man might not be incorrect to have alleged that there was massive rigging on the part of both the ruling party and the APC. I think the man might not be far from the truth, because I mean, looking at the massive support the man had online, I mean, and then from some of my friends that I contacted in Benin, and looking at me, trying to place that vis-a-vis the results, you know that something is wrong somewhere.
Okay.
So yes, yeah.
Well, just to bring into context, these are just allegations, not substantiated. But then, talking about law enforcement agencies, in what ways would you say performance of security agencies during the conduct of these sub-national election in Edo State affected public trust in electoral process and results being legitimate?
Yes, the thing I think I've said it here before that we only hope and pray that the security agencies, particularly the Nigerian police force, will not allow themselves to be lured or to be used as tools in the hands of politicians. Unfortunately, there were allegations of instances where the police, where the law enforcement agents who were supposed to ensure that there was some kind of fairness and calmness, that they were the ones who conspired with politicians to rig elections. For instance, I think the spokesman, I mean the PDP chairman in Edo State, I think he did allege earlier that the security agencies did not allow agents of the PDP to gain access to INEC office, whereas the APC agents were allowed. If that is true, then these are some of the instances, and this in the bigger picture can actually affect the kind of the trust electorate and Nigerians as I mean in general have in security agencies, because this is not good for democracy. I mean, definitely security agencies are meant to be neutral, and that's why they don't participate in elections ordinarily, in terms of they don't vote, because as security agents, your duty is to ensure that there's orderliness, you provide security coverage and cover for the electorate. But instances where these security agents are used as tool to perpetrate all manner of electoral malpractices, this is not good, and this is not healthy for democracy.
All right, thank you so much for your perspective on the news. Taiwo Ojumu, many thanks indeed for your insights.
Thank you for having me.